In this video, we are going to discuss the significance of agricultural economics. So here we are going to actually understand why we require a separate subject or a separate branch in economics like agricultural economics. That question we are going to address here. And why should we study agriculture economics separately? We know that agriculture economics is just the application of economics in the field of the agriculture sector. The laws, principles, and theories, and of course the tools which we use in economics are applied in the field of the agriculture sector to discuss and analyze various things happening in the agriculture sector like agriculture production, agriculture products distribution, then its value addition, its pricing, and labor problems, and the problems in acquiring raw materials, problems with regard to the availability and the nature of different kinds of raw materials and factors of production which we use in agriculture sector. So to analyze all these things, we need certain tools and certain theoretical basis. And economics provides these theories, theoretical support, and certain tools to analyze the problems in the agriculture sector. So agriculture economics is just a combination of agriculture and economics in the sense that we use the tools in economics in the field of the agriculture. And that's what is meant by the agriculture economics. But the question is, why should we study this agriculture economics separately? So the general framework of economic theory is applicable to the business of agriculture just as much as to that of an industry. Yet the question arises, why should we study agriculture economics separately? So simply speaking, the reason is this: there are a substantial differences in the natural conditions under which production takes place in the agriculture sector, because we know that agricultural production or agricultural output is a function of things like the climate, things like the availability of land, things like the availability of rain or rainfall. So these natural things, unlike in other fields like industry or service sector, many natural things actually determine the production or production activities in the agriculture sector. So agriculture sector relies much on the natural conditions. So production takes place in the natural conditions, and natural conditions are not under our control. Means they are hardly brought under the control of the men or human beings, or they are beyond our control. Therefore, that's why we say that agriculture sector often faces a lot of uncertainties because of the involvement of these natural conditions in determining the course of actions in the agriculture sector. And also agriculture sector has some sort of sociological issues, or you can say that sociological background of the people working in the agriculture sector. That background has a lot of influence on the agricultural activities. We know that traditionally we have certain segments of the population who have been actively engaged in the agriculture sector, and there are some areas where agriculture sector is more popular. So some segment of the population is said to be more engaged in the agriculture sector. Such kind of a sociological background we have got in the case of the agriculture. So because of these two reasons, that we say that the study of agricultural economics becomes all the more important, and a study of agricultural economics should be a separate one because of these two kinds of specialities of the agriculture sector. That one is natural conditions determine the agriculture sector's production to a great extent, and secondly, agricultural production and agriculture sector itself is actually built on the basis of certain sociological background, unlike the other sectors like the service sector and industrial sector. So because of these things, we say that we need a separate study of the agricultural economics. Now I am going to explain 7 important points, 7 important reasons, a split up of reasons, 7 important reasons which make the the study of agricultural economics, a separate study of agricultural economics, essential. So now I am going to present that 7 points which actually explain why we need a separate study of agricultural economics. The first is a unique industry. We know that agriculture sector is a very unique industry. It is quite distinct from the other fields like industrial sector and service sector. And why is agriculture sector a unique industry? Because the mode of life in the agriculture sector and the business enterprises, that means mode of production, they are combined together. We know that many of us actually work on our own agricultural land, or we may have a homestead, just like 10 cents or 15 cents, 20 cents. So we cultivate there, and we engage in farming activities there, where whenever we have free time or whenever we become unemployed in certain formal or industrial or service sector, we immediately go to the agriculture sector to spend some time for work. That means our mode of life, our way of life, and the business enterprises are very much combined together as far as the agriculture sector is concerned. And this kind of a combination you can hardly see anywhere. In industry or service sector, there is a quite distinction between the mode of life of the people and the working conditions. But here the mode of life and the working conditions are very much joined together in the agriculture sector. They actually depend on each other and they connect with each other. So such kind of a closeness between the mode of life and the business operations or business enterprises can be seen only in the agriculture sector. So this kind of a combination actually doesn't exist in other kind of industries or other service sectors. That is why agriculture is more influenced by sociological, political, and sentimental considerations. The sociological background of the people, political background of the people, and sentiments of the people, all these things actually influence the agriculture sector. That's why we say that agriculture sector is a very specialized, very distinct, unique industry, because the people working in the agriculture sector, their life and their mode of operations, their mode of production, their kind of cultivation, on everything has an influence on each other. So that much combination, that much interdependence is there. That's why we say that agriculture is a unique industry, and therefore we need a separate subject or separate branch in economics to deal with the agriculture sector. And second important point is, you know that in agriculture sector, people produce mainly for self-consumption, unlike the other sectors. For example, take the case of the industrial sector. There, the main aim of the production is to sell in the market for a huge profit. So their aim is to have more and more profit. But unlike such sectors, in agriculture sector, production is done by the people mainly for self-consumption. Especially majority of the people produce things mainly for their own needs. And whatever is left after meeting their own consumption requirements, they may sell the same thing in the market. But in modern corporate farming, we know that the element of this self-sufficiency has been reduced in importance. We have certain modern corporate farming in different parts of our country, especially in agriculturally advanced states like Haryana and Punjab. You may find certain corporate farming methods where, of course, the aim is not the means the self consumption, but they produce the things to be sold in the market at a relatively high price. So therefore, their self sufficiency doesn't appear to be the main objective. But barring such kind of modern corporate farming, which are a very few in our country, majority of the farmers, they produce things for their own needs. And this is an important peculiarity of the agriculture sector. In most developing economies, even today, farming is an activity mainly for self-sufficiency. Third important reason is that in agriculture sector, products are joint products. Joint products means, so for example, if you take the case of a, take the case of a goat. So from goat we get the meat, mutton, and at the same time the wool of the goat can be used for making clothes, or milk you can take for drinking. So therefore, that means different products you are getting from one animal. Just like that, from one plant you may get different products. Take the case of the coconut tree, you may get different products from the coconut tree. So that means they are joint products. You cannot produce milk alone with the help of a god, because means meat plus milk plus wool it may give you. So therefore, it's a kind of joint productions. So many agricultural commodities are joint products, like mutton and wool, because they are both part of the same plant or the same animal. Therefore, you cannot decide the cost of a particular product. The cost attributable to the various products cannot be separated. You cannot calculate the cost of the milk, you cannot calculate the cost of the meat. So a separate calculation of these things becomes very difficult. The cost attributable to the various products cannot be separated. Thus, in agriculture, we cannot normally consider the supply of any product in isolation. You cannot increase the supply of milk alone. You cannot increase the supply of meat alone. So therefore, it is very difficult to manage the supply of a particular commodity in the agriculture sector. So in agriculture, we cannot normally consider the supply of any product in isolation. Then fourth important thing is law of diminishing returns. We know what is law of diminishing returns, because if you increase the input by 20%, the output will be raised by less than 20%. If you increase output by 20% and output is raised by more than 20%, it could be termed as increasing returns. But diminishing returns happens when your output grows at a rate less than at the rate at which the input is growing. So your input is growing at 20%, but output is growing at a less than 20% rate, then that is called that's called diminishing returns. Diminishing returns usually occurs in all sectors after some time, especially in the long run. Diminishing returns happens in all sectors, but diminishing returns comes in agriculture sector very early. So uh, why does it come in the agriculture sector very early? The reason for this is that in the agriculture sector, the main input is land, but land is fixed in its quantity. Therefore, as we use more and more land, there is the possibility of the occurrence of the law of diminishing returns to scale at an early stage. So agriculture requires the use of a large proportion of land, unlike many other business activity. As a result, there is an early tendency of law of diminishing returns in the agriculture sector. The fifth important point is, in the agriculture sector, there is little scope for division of labor, because you know that division of labor is very important in the industrial sector. Specialization that makes the industrial sector uh, means able to produce large scale commodities in large scale. So large scale production, and also mean enjoying the benefit of economies of scale. These things become possible only if you adopt a policy of division of labor. But division of labor cannot be accurately practiced in the agriculture sector. Farming mostly is undertaken in small sized units of land. In small sized units of land, there you have no room for a division of labor policies. Therefore, it gives little scope for division of labor, and therefore agriculture sector does not always get the benefit of a large scale production or economies of scale. And sixth important point is acute competition. You might have noticed that in the agriculture sector, there are a large number of farmers, small farmers, small farm holders. They are in large number. So therefore, what happens is that because of this existence of a large number of farmers in the agriculture sector, the farmers are unable to influence their products, the price of their products. And because this competition among farmers take them to a situation where they can hardly influence the determination of the price of their commodities. So this results in acute competition among the farmers, driving down the prices in the open market. The last point is limited control over price determination. This point we also discussed, means in the case of the acute competition, this point to some extent, this point was already discussed. Limited control over price determination. That means the farmers do not have much control over the price determination of their products. If you look at the case of the industrial products, the prices will be written on the packet itself. So it will show how much price you have to give. The price means price is fixed, and that price is fixed by the company or the corporate is fixing the price of their products. But here, when it comes to the agriculture sector, the farmers do not seem to have full control over the determination of the price of their commodities. Farmers' control over price is well limited in the agriculture sector. And due to the nature of agriculture sector, due to this nature of the agriculture sector, maladjustments are likely to occur between supply and demand. Sometimes supply will be high. During the time of the harvesting, supply of the agriculture commodities may be high related to the demand. Then what happens? The prices will go down. Sometimes more products will be produced than are required, leading to oversupply and a fall in the prices of their products. Sometimes what happens, not enough products will be available in the market, leading to price increases. So these kind of oscillations in the prices of the commodities normally happens in the agriculture sector because the farmers are unable to keep their products for a long period of time, because agriculture produced products are perishable in nature. They cannot keep for a long period of time. So as soon as harvesting is over, what these farmers do is that they take these products to the market and sell the products at whatever price they fetch. So therefore, this kind of a situation actually makes agriculture business quite different, quite uncertain compared to the industry sector and the service sector, and limited control over price determination. So because of these 7 reasons which I have discussed here, we argue that we should we should have a separate study of the agricultural economics. Thank you.